ScoreNorth.com.
I don't know. I mean, there's always those, the teams that you seem to match up well and are very similar, hockey clubs. So I don't know the reason, but, they've always, every game, certainly this year, been, real good games, real intense hockey games. So, it'll be a lot of fun, obviously, if that's how it shakes out.
Fire it up, boys.
Oh, yeah, baby.
Fire it up, boys. We'll see how it shakes out. Shakes out.
Rays with Kirill and Kevin Fiala. They're going to take us to the promised land. I'm ready.
Go, keep going. This is great. You're freestyling right now. Go.
Cam Talbot, please don't screw this up.
Gentlemen, the state of hockey is back to the state of playoff hockey starting this weekend. You can find the full nerd deep dive on Judd's Hockey Show. I know you guys are going to be releasing a preview episode of Judd's Hockey Show if it's not already out by the time you're consuming this right now. But this is Mackey and Judd. It's an action movie rewind Friday, Kickboxer, the 1980s classic that we're going to dive into. And got a few things to say about the Minnesota Twins, but boys, let's start with a little Mackey and Judd play the odds here. Just a trip over to actionnetwork.com. And I don't know, I'm having a hard time seeing what the Wild Stanley Cup odds are through all the shade on this website. All the shade here, okay? I'm just going to start at the top. I'm going to start at the top here. I'm going to go through, and I'm going to give you this in the plus 200 cents. So instead of giving you, I'll try to translate these on the fly and see if my math works out so that we can put these in layman's terms. But let's just see what these are the consensus. They're taking all the sports books, the consensus odds to win the Stanley Cup, okay? Colorado Avalanche, 4.5 to 1. That's fair, right?
Yes.
Those are the odds on favorites, right?
Yes.
The Las Vegas Golden Knights, 5.5 to 1. Okay.
They were the second best team. That's fair.
Okay. The Maple Leafs, 6.5 to 1. Hurricanes and Lightning, both 7.5 to 1. Mm-hmm. Okay. The Bruins, 12 to 1. Penguins, 12 to 1.
And then the Wild.
The Capitals.
And then the Wild.
Sorry, I'm again. It's a little shady here,
dude. You got to read every team. You can't just skip the Wild.
No, I am. I'm literally going in order here. Panthers 15 to 1.
Oh, thank God!
Literally putting a Florida hockey team in.
Hold
here
on a second.
Minnesota hockey team.
I will not have this. I will not have you skipping the Wild on this list, Phil. This isn't funny anymore.
The Islanders 18 to 1.
My team.
Okay,
it is my team.
The Oilers 19 to 1. And now we get to the Wild at 20 to 1, all the way down, sort of like mid to late pack there. Your guys' thoughts?
You know how it's a cliche and often in sports the respect thing is just BS.
No respect.
It's like no respect. It's
no respect.
No respect.
It's like bleep you. You get respect. You'll get respect if you deserve respect. This one actually is a legitimate no respect. I mean, think about the list of teams. And look, I think the top of the list is very, very fair. But think about the list of teams that you just ran down. The Florida Panthers are a good team, okay? But the Minnesota Wild was in what ultimately at the top, not the entire thing, what ultimately at the top had the two best teams, I believe, in the entire league, okay? They played those teams competitively throughout the course of the season. They finished in third place, and despite their struggles against the Blues, where they were god-awful, they finished in third place very convincingly. Mm-hmm. They don't have a center who I love, but they've got much improved goaltending, starting with Talbot. The defensive core is good. They've got Kaprizov. This is legitimately no respect. Like, I'm not expecting them to be at the top, gentlemen, but 20 to 1 behind, the Panthers and the Oilers are in a game, to use Phil's term, in a sport that can be completely random on things at times. Okay. Like weird stuff can happen. And heck, goalies can just get hot. This is a 20 to 1 team. I struggle with this one, and I am not a homer by any means, but this one to me seems like it's off. And if I'm the Wild, I love it.
How about this? Okay, so you want some more shade? You want some more no respect? Okay,
no respect.
This is amazing. All right, I'm on ESPN.com. The ESPN, I believe this is an insider. This is an ESPN Plus article, I think. No, I'm sorry. It's open to the public. It's open. So they have all the first round matchups, and then they've got the schedules, and then they have a series preview blurb.
Okay.
Well, at least for most of the series. So Penguins and Islanders, they've got a full paragraph. While the Penguins' speed can present challenges for New York as it did in the regular season, the Islanders' defensive structure thrives this time of year, yada, yada, yada. Capitals, Bruins, right? And you got, okay, let's keep going here. Maple Leafs, Canadiens preview, Avalanche, Blues, and okay, we get to the Golden Knights against the Minnesota Wild. They didn't even bother to write a series preview. Didn't even bother to put a series preview paragraph in it. Can't get a paragraph. Can't get 3 sentences.
I was going to say,
what might happen in the series. We just no one cares about the Wild. Let's put them at the bottom.
It was set late last night, but I mean, couldn't you have had one set to go? Because I mean, we knew the potential permeations. So I'm taking this though. Like if I don't enjoy gambling, but if I did, I would take this and I would hit this one hard. 20-1, why not?
Here's the other thing too, okay? And I get the 20-1. I mean, it's more of a 2-month 4 series odds, right? But if you're just looking at the first round,
yep.
I mean, Minnesota has played Vegas very well this year. I don't know. I think this is probably the best, and you guys tell me, but like this is probably the best possible matchup for Kirill to light the lamp a few times and for the Wild to advance of all the realistic. I mean, between that and Colorado, like give me this 10 times out of 10 to get out of the first round, and that should make the Wild's odds better to begin with. So
I think, I think the way to look at it is, yes, the Wild match up better with Vegas. You're going to have to most likely go through both teams in Vegas and Colorado if you were to make a run to the Stanley Cup. So I can understand the odds being stacked against you a little bit. But if you're looking for an underdog, like the Wild would be the perfect, even if you weren't a Wild fan, like you're watching the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs. The Stanley Cup playoffs are one of the most entertaining postseasons in all the 4 major sports. If you were just an outsider and you were an Islanders fan, you were looking to place a bet on an underdog to overcome the odds, I bet the Wild would be the fun one to do. And it has a very good payout too. I don't know what the odds are in just the Vegas Golden Knights series, but if you win that series, then it completely changes the entire course of where this team can go. Like I'm all in if I'm a hockey fan trying to figure out what underdog I can put some money on.
how likely is it, by the way, I'm getting way ahead here because task number 1 is beat Vegas in a 7-game series, right? But
the finals are tough, Phil. The finals are going to be tough.
How likely is it that St. Louis can upset Colorado in the other West Division playoff series and make your path easier if you do get beyond the first round?
Well, 2 things there. One is, yes, I think the Blues are playing well and they are built for the playoffs. The Blues, to me, are basically very similar to the Kings teams that won back-to-back, or not back-to-back, but that won 2 cups. Those Kings teams were big and heavy, but they had some speed and they beat you up and had goaltending. If you look at the Blues, they basically are a lot like those teams. And so if you can contain and frustrate the Avs and slow them down, which St. Louis can, I think there's a good chance there, or a decent chance there. Not good, probably decent. But part 2 of your question is the problem. You got your ass handed to you by St. Louis as the Wild all year long, which you can't dismiss.
So would you rather face, I mean, we're way ahead here. Vegas, sure. Vegas.
Okay.
Like, would you rather face Colorado if you get beyond?
I tweeted 2 nights ago that I would probably prefer that the Blues beat up the Avs and you face the Blues. But the more I think about this, yeah, you know what? It sounds crazy. I think I would, because you match up so poorly against the Blues. And here's the one thing the Blues did that scared me. The Blues, aside from the unbelievable goal he scored the X against Binnington, the Blues did a pretty good job, I think, of taking Kaprizov off his game, but they didn't tick him off. Like, he didn't come back. The last game that the Wild played against the Golden Knights tried to intimidate Kaprizov, and he got ticked off, and he came back at them, and we talked about that, and he scored 2 goals. The Blues did a very good job of subtly removing Kaprizov from the game more. So the more I think about my tweet, I think I was wrong. I think I would prefer to take on a beat-up Avs team, because if the Blues and Avs go 6 or 7 games, Dex, the Avs are going to be beat up. And the one thing is when the Avs get beat up and McKinnon gets hurt a lot, if McKinnon is slightly off his game or frustrated, he becomes a different player at times. So you just had so little success against St. Louis that I'm actually going to pivot and say I'd prefer a Colorado team that has been taken to a long series, is tired, and is not in great shape.
St. Louis can definitely beat Colorado up pretty well, but Colorado scares the living hell out of me. I think they're just a better team. And
they are a better team.
I can understand the logic of, well, if St. Louis beats up Colorado in a 7-game series, but Avalanche still move on, but they got whacked and hacked and whatnot, and the Wild also win their series, okay, I can get maybe a little slowed down version of the Avs that isn't on full strength and isn't on a complete firepower. But if I'm the Wild, I would rather still play St. Louis. I would 100% still play St. Louis. Bennington is volatile. I don't see how the Wild can basically run through Vegas and then run through Colorado. If they can pull off both those feats, then I'm leading the parade on on Kellogg. But I don't think that's going to happen. I'd rather see St. Louis upset Colorado than you get the Blues. But I'm all for either matchup.
The problem there is if you play the Blues, they are going to beat you up badly, and the Wild doesn't come back at that well. The Avs have great speed, and they're a better team than the Wild, but I feel like the Wild would be in a long series more able to combat what Colorado does well than what the Blues do well. And the other thing is Binnington can get hot, which is really scary. Grubauer, the Avs goaltender, is good, but I feel like there's more ability there for him to melt down a bit. So I'm just saying, I mean, either one is tough. But the problem too, Phil, with these odds don't take into consideration to me at all how teams are built for the playoffs, because the playoffs are different. Like you could be, I mean, how many times have we seen that, right? Where teams are, oh man, they had a great year and then they get bounced in the first round. The Blues in the odds that I'm looking at right here that we got yesterday, 28-1. The Blues are built for the playoffs. The Wild has goaltending. A prime example here, the Oilers, 18-1. Okay, they've got probably the two best players in the world, but their goaltending could be suspect. So, like, I don't feel these odds are done according to playoffs. I feel that they're done according to regular season success, which doesn't really translate to what you're going to be like in the playoffs. Yeah. Which I don't know why they don't take that into account.
Yeah, and so if you're wondering, what are you guys doing? The first round hasn't even started yet. Listen, we're just telling you who to root for on the other side of the bracket in the first round, and we're just being presumptive about the Wild beating the Golden Knights in 5 or 6 games in the first round. Real quick prediction here just on this show. Do the Wild advance beyond the first round, and how many games will the first round take?
I have the Wild winning this series in 6. I think the Wild win this series in 6 games. After that, we're gonna go matchup by matchup. I'm not gonna go all the way in just yet. But if they win this in 6, I think they can. I think they absolutely win this series in 6. It's gonna be a grind though. It's gonna be a grind.
I have the Golden Knights in 6, but it's going to be a fun series. It should be really competitive. I'm hoping it goes 7 personally. I think it goes 6. I think the Golden Knights win. But here's the most important question. Declan, who cares? Judd, who cares? Hockey Whisperer. That's what we care about. What does the Hockey Whisperer say?
Oh, let's see.
Channel him.
Can I? Do I hear him coming down?
Find him.
Yes, there he is.
He moved.
The Hockey Whisperer, waiting for the Kraken to come out to the Pacific Northwest. Here's what will happen in the first round, according to the Hockey Whisperer. This will be a back and forth. Actually, you know what? I feel like someone's going to fall down 2-0. But it's still going to go 7 games. This is going to be a 7-game series. Someone's falling down 2-0, but it's still going to be a 7-game series. Mm-hmm. And in that game 7, we're going to overtime. And Kevin Fiala will score the game winner for the Minnesota Wild to advance to the second round of the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Wow.
The Hockey Whisperer has been on hiatus for a long time.
The Hockey Whisperer can't make that prediction without Oda Joy.
I'm sorry. It'll be a game 7 overtime winner by Kevin Fiala to send the Wild into the second round. He scored!
What's the next level? That's my question for my guy LaPanta.
He's got to
At that
save a
point,
level.
then,
He's got to save a level.
You've got to have, if that happens, you've got to have a place that you can go that you've never gone before.
Why don't you tell him that when you run into him in the press box?
No, in the elevator.
Is he
When
not
it's
open to
me,
advice?
LaPanta, and Carts uncomfortably riding down in the elevator, I got to say, Anthony, you gotta have.
Hey, I got some
another
pointers.
level.
Got some pointers for you. I've never been a parent. I've never done play-by-play, but I've got takes on both. Boys, before we get into Action Movie Rewind, just real quick here. Real quick. All right.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Probably not.
Should the Twins fire somebody right now?
Do you want me to start? Because my answer is yes, definitely.
Who should they fire?
1,000%. I told you this and write that down a couple weeks ago. I stand by it. I've got statistics to back it up. The easiest guy, and look, this firing, there are a lot of people that want Rocco out right now, okay? I don't. I am not suggesting that you blow the entire thing up. But I think you need to wake people up. Like Phil, your points the past week or so, I think, are spot on. This team's dead ass.
Thank you.
They don't seem to like each other. And I don't know if it's true or not because we're not there. But I think you need to wake people up. And the way that you do that in baseball is you fire the equivalent of the offensive coordinator, the hitting coach, because that will at least. I mean, right now, here's my problem. Nobody's on notice. Like nobody. They're falling apart. By the end of yesterday, they had the worst winning percentage in all of baseball. Okay. Like this is not a blip. This is a team that is not as good as we expected, but they shouldn't be this awful.
All right.
So yes, I'm firing somebody.
The Twins do have two hitting coaches. So are you firing Rudy Hernandez or Edgar Varela?
Edgar Varela.
Edgar's gone?
I believe he is. He has the title of the main one.
Would you fire Tommy Watkins, the first base coach, too, just to send a
no,
shot across the bow?
No, he's the first base coach. I need to fire somebody who actually has a job that is semi-important.
How about Pete? Is it Mackey? Maki? He's the bullpen coach. Bullpen's been pretty crappy this year.
Yeah, but I'm not.
I know that his job is
coach.
Mostly to answer the phone and like.
Can I give you guys a stat quickly here? 5-game trip because they got rained out on Sunday in Detroit. Okay, 5-game trip. They won the opener against the Tigers. They then lost the next 4. In those 5 games, 53 men left on base. Runners in scoring position, including the 0 for 10 yesterday, 11 for 60, a 183 average with runners in scoring position.
Yeah.
Fire the hitting coach. Send a message. Do it today.
I do feel like firing the hitting coach is such a hollow. We got to do something.
It's a cliche.
People are mad. We got to do something. Sorry, Edgar. Update your LinkedIn profile, bud. You're fired. Like,
do you say that to him?
Is firing Edgar or is firing Rudy Hernandez gonna make Miguel Sano snap out of it? Like, dude, you're a 28-year-old professional baseball player.
No, I'm talking about
figure
guys
out how to not strike out 3 times in a game.
No, he's hopeless. I'm talking about anybody who like they're right now. The problem is this: there's no accountability at all. Like they're all just like, okay, cool, we lost again. Oh, that's too bad. Tough start. Tough season so far. It's like there's no accountability. In 2019, the magic of Rocco was he left the accountability up to the clubhouse. And it was a live and let live, but they were good, and so it completely worked. And at the time, I applauded it. Phil,
if you guys want to take BP, take BP. If you want to take a nap, take a nap. If you want to stay home for a few hours.
But when the children start to miss the hey, look, okay?
It's exactly like this show.
Look.
And it's our show.
Look, okay? You might be right.
What's the difference?
Okay, here's the difference. Phil is the consummate professional, and I'm still okay. Like I can go get the ball. I care about the team.
I'm like Diet Nelson Cruz is what I am. Like I'm in I'm in bad shape. I'm not going to be in the Hall of Fame, but I come to work every day and I work hard.
And then there's Diving executive producer Declan J. Cave just doing his best over here to try to keep the show alive.
Diving Declan.
And every 1 out of 10 dives is going to be a damn good catch, but 9 out of 10 are going to be misses.
You're Kyle Garlick, I think, too. You got some guys. But anyway. There's no accountability, and so like you got to do something here. Do you just stand here and take it? Like if you're the Twins.
Sometimes in baseball you don't have a choice because it's not like a physical exertion effort sport as much. Like people can say, well, Josh Donaldson wasn't running hard. Well, you don't win baseball games by pressing more. Like in football, guys, we need 10% more physical exertion, Herculean effort in the trenches, right? Basketball need to pick up the energy to outrun and outwork our opponents. Baseball is such a chess match, and if you just aren't able to, like if you don't have pitchers that can find their spots, if you don't have hitters that can hit with 2 strikes, all these things that have been wrong for the Twins this year, like definitely hold people accountable. I'm not saying that there's not some move to be made here and that they should just shrug their shoulders and like death march to 100 losses. Like, so I'm with you on that front. I just don't know how much you're going to spark this. Like this has to come from within the players. If they there's a bunch of good players on this team still. There's flaws, but there's a bunch of good players with track records on this team. If they decide, all right, we're a good team, especially our lineup. Like we've all had, look at the peak season of everyone in that lineup. And you could argue that like all of them are, top 10 MVP vote seasons. If you look at like the best season of Kepler and the best season of Polanco, right? Sure. If they decide they want to band together and dig out of this thing, okay, I just don't know. I honestly don't know if they do. This doesn't look like this doesn't look like the Red Sox from 15 years ago drinking shots together and like banding together. It just doesn't feel that way to me.
But doesn't having no accountability for your actions embolden you to go in that direction?
You're saying if you fire the hitting coach that they're going to like band together?
I'm saying right now there are no repercussions to what's going on, and I'm willing to bet that a guy like Cruz has said a few weeks ago, guys, we got to pick this up. Like let's go. It's go time. And they're clearly all like, yeah, okay, maybe. So I feel like it's a great idea to leave your employees to their own devices if they're succeeding and it's on track.
Yeah.
But this isn't, and it's just simply like day after day, Groundhog Day. Oh, we're back at the ballpark. Another loss.
Yeah, and I think my gut says I don't know. You can do some things to hold some people accountable. Like you can say, listen, hey, we had expectations, and so someone's got to feel it, even if it's a scapegoat firing. And I wouldn't oppose that. Do what you got to do. I just don't know if the DNA of this can be fixed until much later, like trade deadline or off season. It just doesn't feel right.
It's fair.
Doesn't feel right. So.
We're gonna win, Twins. We're gonna score. We're gonna win, Twins.
And hey, talking Twins every day on this show. We're giving you in-depth breakdowns. We're still grinding it every single day. These clowns might not be, but all of our Twins discussions are powered by, you want to talk about true professionals, Dennis Kirk. Dennis Kirk's not 12 games below 500 or whatever. Dennis Kirk's at the top of their game. If you like to ride Harleys, sport bikes, you name it, you'll find what you need at DennisKirk.com. 160,000 parts and accessories in stock, clothing and helmets as well. Order before 8 p.m. and they ship the same day. We need to get Judd in some riding gear, some chaps or something.
I look good in chaps.
I think you look great in chaps.
I look good in chaps. Yeah.
Best in the business. DennisKirk.com. Everything you need for your ride at DennisKirk.com.